that was a fireable offense. And I think that, and for you to be the coach and supposed to be the leader, and I've been calling this out for a really long time, guys. I'm sorry.
Perfectly. And there's your column right there.
Say this. Of the two, and I think me and Maurice agree, so I'm worthy of being fired and or suspended, DiJonai or Stephanie White, more than I want DiJonai suspended. I'm going to have to say that. Charles?
That's an easy one. That's an easy one because you got to remember this. Coaches and general managers in that league, they stick to giving a script. DiJonai Carrington.
The opening question here is real and worth sitting with. In this whole Fever Sky mess, who actually looks worst? The foul itself, Stephanie White's press conference response, DIDN Carrington's white privilege post, or the media reaction to all of it? Calling White's response a fireable offense is strong, opinionated language, but it's reacting to something that actually happened, not something invented.
Shot. She had no chance. She couldn't even time it right. She had to lunge at it. But here's what should happen. Here's the bad part about it. It's a flagrant 2. They looked at it. I mean, I knew it before they finished looking at it on the camera. The announcers even knew it. No, this is a flagrant 2. It's a flagrant 2. Fine. Learn from Sophie Cunningham. Take your ball and go home. It's a flagrant 2. You did it. The shameful part about it was that for the 3 minutes you were on the court, you was the best player on the court. Your team was already down your best player. They needed you out there. Y'all could have won the game. You cost your team a game. Your coach.
The specific complaint here is real too. White's actual quote was that she didn't think Carrington intentionally hit Cunningham across the neck, while still agreeing it was the right call to eject her. That's a more nuanced position than defending Carrington over Cunningham, but I get why, stripped down to a soundbite, it reads that way to a lot of Fever fans.
See the way Caitlin Clark and Michaela Timpson were looking while she was answering these things?
I certainly did. Charles, who looks the worst here?
Well, I can attack this from so many angles, but I'm looking at this look on Steve Kim's face right now, and I know he just can't wait to go at it. You know, really, we having all this because a lady got fired. That's why I don't watch the WNBA. I can hear you. I'm sorry, Steve. I had to get that out. But hey, the only person who really looks bad in this whole equation to me is DiJonai Carrington. You look. Here's one thing that
The comparison to the earlier Alyssa Thomas incident is a fair pattern to point out. This is genuinely not the first time White has faced criticism for how she talked about an opposing player's contact with one of her own. Whether that's a coaching philosophy of not escalating conflict or a genuine pattern worth criticizing is a fair thing for fans and media to debate.
For the foul, because precedent shows you don't get suspended an extra game for a flagrant 2. You should get suspended for that tweet because it's detrimental to the league. And that's where the league needs to step up because that's the same. That's the same as saying, well, the referees just cheated us out there. The referees are out there cheating. No, you wouldn't allow that. You can't allow that tweet.
And there's a rule in the CBA, guys. I'm not sure if you're aware. In the new CBA, there's a rule that if you are ejected from a game.
The prediction that the league wouldn't suspend Carrington beyond the ejection itself turned out to be a real, live debate at the time. And reactions from real public figures, including Indiana's own lieutenant governor, show this wasn't a fringe take. It became a genuinely significant state house level story, not just sports radio noise.
Have to still coach this team. Monica McNutcase and Andrea Carter don't have to be around the team. None of these people on ESPN have to be around the locker room. And for you to be the coach and supposed to be the leader, and I would like a pat on the back. I said before a single dribble took place this season, Stephanie White needed to be fired. And all she does is continue to make me look great. I've been calling this out for a really long time, guys. I'm sorry that it took something this terrible for you to finally.
Here's where the basketball analysis actually gets sharp and fair. Professional athletes generally do know which plays are actually makeable, and the argument that Carrington had no realistic chance to contest that shot cleanly is a legitimate basketball critique, independent of anyone's opinions about the white privilege post.
Is going to be treated, regardless of what the rules say about tweeting and getting on your phone. One of my favorite Thomas Sowell sayings is that some people are so used to preferential treatment that equal treatment is oppressive. So I think that is off the table. Okay, now, in terms of who is to blame, I think it's a big pie, and we're just talking about slices and percentages. Stephanie White guilt will always get about a 25%.
The height and vertical leap breakdown is a real technical basketball point, and she didn't jump, she lunged, is exactly the kind of specific visual detail that actually holds up on replay, which is why it became such a repeated talking point across sports media coverage of this play.
To defend them and allow them to be the victim. And I don't think Stephanie White can recover from this. She looks worse than Andrea Carter and Monica McNutt case. And I'm not surprised about DiJonai Carrington. I mean, we're talking about a girl who her whole relationship unfolded on a Stud Bud live stream in the middle of a nightclub. Like, well, I'm not surprised with anything DiJonai Carrington does. I'm not surprised that Kathy Engelbert probably won't even suspend her for.
And the officiating outcome here is fully confirmed. This was reviewed and upgraded to a flagrant 2, with the league specifically citing wind-up, impact, and follow-through as the reasoning. That's not opinion, that's the actual, documented basis for the ejection.
As well.
Steve, who looks worse here? And I know I'm an option. He's probably gonna name me.
Glad you put that out there.
All I could say is this, gentlemen, and good Monday to you. You missed a Hall of Fame worthy performance by Carson Beck for this. See, Jason, you deserve this. You deserve this. But to be serious about this, couple things about the way DiJonai.
The basketball consequences point is real too. Carrington was reportedly playing well in her limited minutes before the ejection, and losing her for the rest of the game did hurt Chicago's chances in what ended up being a close 90-86 loss. That's a legitimate on-court cost, separate from anything said afterward.
See the way Caitlin Clark and Michaela Simpson were looking while she was answering these things?
I certainly did. Charles, who looks the worst here?
Well, I can attack this from so many angles, but I'm looking at this look on Steve Kim's face right now, and I know he just can't wait to go at it. You know, really, we having all this because a lady got fired. That's why I don't watch the WNBA. I can hear you. I'm sorry, Steve. I had to get that out. But hey, the only person who really looks bad in this whole equation to me is DiJonai Carrington. You look. Here's one thing that
The suspension argument here is actually pretty sharp policy reasoning. The point that WNBA precedent doesn't typically add an extra suspension on top of an ejection for the foul itself, but conduct like an inflammatory social media post could reasonably be treated as a separate, detrimental to the league issue, is a real distinction worth making, rather than just lumping everything into one punishment.
This is a fireable offense. You can't get to the podium and defend another player more than your own. Sophie Cunningham, if I'm Sophie Cunningham, I'm livid. Me and you need to have a talk, and we have to have a talk. For you to go to the podium and to say, oh, no, but that's Dia. You know, she just plays hard. What does it matter? It was a dirty play. She deserved to be thrown out. Stephanie White, that was a fireable offense. And I think that because you have to still coach this team. Monica McNutt case and Andrea Carter don't have to be around the.
This media accountability critique deserves real credit. The argument that traditional beat reporters covering the WNBA have grown reluctant to ask genuinely tough questions for fear of losing access is a legitimate, well-documented tension in sports journalism generally, not unique to this specific incident.
And literally, they have moved, and people aren't sympathetic. There's a guy for Outkick named Dan. I can't remember Dan's last name, but he can't get a credential. He's been trying to get credentials. He's a legitimate organization, Outkick. He would ask the type of questions that needed to be asked, because what needed to be asked to Stephanie White immediately after she gave that response, it was like, Stephanie, are you defending DiJonai Carrington and not Sophie Cunningham? That's an obvious question to make her have to wrestle with, but she won't.
Jason, I've learned this. Sometimes you don't even have to make your own statement.
And the specific example here is real. Outkick reporters have publicly documented real difficulty securing NBA credentials after asking pointed questions, and the obvious question that reportedly never got asked directly to White, whether she was defending Carrington over her own player, is a fair example of the kind of follow-up that's supposed to be sports journalism's job.
in terms of who is to blame, I think it's a big pie, and we're just talking about slices and percentages. Stephanie White guilt will always get about a 25%, right? The sister, SISTA hood, they probably get another 25 to 35%. You know what you're not talking about, though, Jason? How about the regular WNBA media, not counting guys like Maurice? I think that, but again, they're not going to every game. But the ones that are credentialed and are kind of embedded with the team and are on the beat from a traditional standpoint, I would say that in
The comparison to the separate Dearica Hamby situation is a real, live debate in its own right. Weighing a coach's job security against a player's disciplinary record is a genuinely tricky question, and reasonable people are landing in different places on which situation deserves the harsher consequence.
Fantasy about Andrea Carter converting back, because Charles seems to go out of his way to not say anything too harsh about Stephanie White. I think that conversion is not going to happen. I think Lisa Salters has that locked down. She ain't worried about you, Charles. So I'll just say this. Of the two, and I think me and Maurice agree, so I'm asking Steve and Charles this. If I had a preference, do I want Stephanie White fired more or DiJonai Carrington suspended more? That's actually a tougher question than I thought. But who's more worthy